done on a blockchain, on a distributed ledger blockchain, it could be minutes, if not seconds. And so it's going to enormously hasten the time frame for making payments. It's more secure. It's more private. It's significantly cheaper. And so if indeed this does revolutionize the way that international payments are invoiced and paid, then there should be a flocking to this technology. And if all of that trade, therefore, is even further denominated in stablecoins, then there's going to be demand for the underlying assets, which are Treasury securities. And we could potentially see on the order of trillions of additional demand.
Flocking towards this technology is indeed what we are witnessing as the evolution of money is going to take place upon it. We are going to see that with stablecoins in the UK and EU. It's likely going to be in the form of CBDCs, but there will be private stablecoins that I believe will somewhat compete or at least offer an alternative to CBDCs. The only difference, in my opinion, between stablecoins and CBDCs is that stablecoins aren't issued by a central bank. We've spoken about that. And of course, this is all coming on the back end of the Genius Act that we've spoken about. Very historical moment for the cryptocurrency space. Now law will provide faster, cheaper, and more accessible payments while also cementing dollar's dominance abroad. This legislation is critical to keep the future of digital finance anchored in America. And it's not just money. I did a great meeting with my patrons yesterday. One of the first things you should do if you do become a patron today is watch that meeting. Watch last night's live meeting that we do. We do a live meeting every single Sunday and, of course, Wednesday. We go over a lot of things like my portfolio and how we're set to kind of capture this. But we speak about, it's not just money that's evolving, it's financial instruments more broadly. And the UK may be about to go all in on crypto, not just from a kind of usage and utility point of view. In fact, on Monday, and we interviewed Graham, the CEO of Archax. Archax in venture with Aberdeen and Lloyds Banking Group essentially conducted the UK's first initiative using digital assets to settle FX by tokenizing Aberdeen's, or using the tokenized version on Hedera, Aberdeen's tokenized money market fund. I think it's their Sterling Lux fund, and UK gilts at Lloyds. They essentially settle FX, and the FX market in the UK is about 5.4 trillion daily and accounts for around about 50% volume. So we've seen that literally take place in the UK, and that took place on Monday. Do go and watch that interview with Graham. We've got insane interviews coming for you guys this week and the next. What we see is the London Stock Exchange Group is weighing whether to introduce 24-hour trading in response to growing demand for small investors, the Financial Times reports. Now, how are they going to conduct that? Well, in the same way that DTCC are going to offer it as an infrastructure provider to the various stock markets in the United States. They're essentially going to use DLT technology, which doesn't sleep. It's globally recorded. You don't need fragmented databases. It's all on the one chain or within the on-chain world. They are going to harness public DLTs to essentially enable 24-hour trading. And the UK Stock Exchange Group is now talking about doing a similar thing. So on the topic of the UK, one thing that I found very interesting was a major step forward for UK retail payment infrastructure. And we know there's Project Rosalind and things like this that have taken place. It says on the 15th of July, the Bank of England published a significant update introducing a collaborative new model for designing and delivering the UK's next generational retail payment infrastructure. This marks a step change in how the UK government designs and delivers payment systems built on role clarity, public-private collaboration, innovation, and shares accountability. It was a pleasure to bring together a handful of perspectives across the industry, a powerful reflection of the unified version of shared commitment to delivery. Thank you to those who contributed, and of course Gilbert Verdrin is on there. I did release a clip on my Twitter of Gilbert Verdrin essentially saying, look, if you want to do something, you use Hedera. This is interesting because this essentially is going to use DLT. So the UK, at a time when Rachel Reeves is literally considering selling Bitcoin to plug the various holes that we have in the UK, no jokes intended there, it is ultimately looking to adopt this technology. And we see players moving to do so thus far. So there is literally the evolution of money taking place across the board. It's not just in the US with stablecoins. It's in the UK. It's in the EU with the digital euro that's coming October. We also see this asset class kind of forming as well. We see the technology taking a hold in the form of money and the evolution of money. We also see it in the forms of innovating financial systems and finance broadly, money and value broadly, and creating this internet of value. We also see it as an asset class that I believe is going to be extremely valuable in the same way that the companies that enable the internet are valuable. And talking about it as an asset class, let's dive over to CoinShares' digital report. We like to look at CoinShares' digital report. It gives us a kind of inkling for what institutions are doing. This is volume 243. Ethereum helps push global flows to new weekly record of $4.39 billion. Digital asset products saw an all-time high weekly inflow of $4.39 billion, bringing year-to-date flows to $27 billion, pushing AUM to a record $220 billion. Wow. So that's nearly $250 billion. Ethereum attained several significant new records, with 2025 inflows now surpassing the total of 2024 at $6.2 billion, and weekly inflows nearly doubled that of any other weekly week on record. The US accounted for the vast majority, of course. This is why it's so important that we get ETFs within the US. While global ETP trading turnover hit a record of $39.2 billion, driven by Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can see this is where it came from. Obviously, BlackRock, the real winners, then followed by Grayscale. Ethereum basically saw the same inflows as Bitcoin, which is pretty insane. Multi-assets saw an outflow, XRP, great inflows, and then, of course, Solana also. Ethereum really stole the show, and Ethereum looks great. Ethereum is doing literally what it did just before an epic run in the prior bull market. You can see this kind of basing first rally, come down, and then the spill. Basing first rally, come down again, and then you're sort of on the road to recovery before a major bull takes place. And I think that's going to align with Bitcoin dominance rolling, which I think we're on the cusp of. I think where the crypto space is currently at is just sensational. And the fact that Ethereum is rallying like this tells you everything you need to know in regards to what's in store for altcoins. What I want to do is throw Bitcoin up. Let's find a Bitcoin chart. Let's use Bitstamp. Let's not do it this way. Let's divide the charts, and I'll show you kind of what Ethereum has ahead of it. It's very much just acting like Bitcoin over here. You know, if we were to rewind this, can you see the similarities in regards to what Ethereum is doing and what's ahead of it? And a lot of alts look like this as well. So Ethereum being the kind of king alt is really going to permission the alt sector generally. You know, if we go on and play this, we all know what happened. And I think Ethereum's literally on the exact same trajectory. It's an unbelievably bullish time we have ahead of us as crypto investors. I truly believe that. And we really haven't seen anything yet for alt season. And that potentially is going to throw the Bitcoin 4-year cycle slightly out of whack, because if the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is to come true, that means you've really got no time at all before, October, November is when you're looking at this market ending. I can see an extended cycle. It's always dangerous saying that this time is different, but I can see Ethereum going on a kind of Bitcoin-esque run now. And really that's going to see altcoins fly at a time when Bitcoin dominance looks rather toppy. So we're unbelievably bullish. You guys want to find out what I'm buying to capitalize on all this? Do become a patron. Also, make sure you follow along. We've got some insane interviews coming out this week for you. Really just cement why this technology is going to do what we believe it is. You know, we're going from, as Larry Fink said to his letter to investors, the financial system right now is like routing emails through a post office. What we need is those emails to run on the internet, and that internet is DLT. And what we're seeing is a shift from sending letters to emails with this technology in a kind of financial term. So Ethereum doing what it's doing is insanely bullish for the space as a whole. Could give us confidence with BTC dominance and what might be about to happen for that. The world is embracing this technology. It's not just the US, it's the UK, it's the EU. It's more broadly across the board. That is really it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope people have held on for this, because it is going to be so worth it. And I think we've just got this amazing time ahead of us. And of course, we'll keep you up to date on that on a daily basis. So if you're not already a subscriber, do consider becoming one. That's it from me, guys. Have a magical Monday. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.